Why are you out of shape, overweight, maybe even sick like 70% of adults? Well, why don't you feel as good as you did when you were a teenager? Well, if you stick around and watch this video, I'm going to tell you why it is, because the first step to solving a problem is understanding the problem and what you can do to change it. And guess what? It's not all your fault. Since the 1960s, we've had a growing epidemic of obesity and bad health that didn't exist before then. So you have to kind of ask yourself, what changed since then? Well, it's 2024 and we're just in front of a presidential election, and one of the candidates, if you've been watching political stuff, RFK Jr. is a longtime Washington insider who's brought some renewed scrutiny or interest in one of the main reasons, one of the main drivers of bad health in the world. So there's really two big things that are driving this epidemic, and they are our food, the food industry, and information technology. Well, let's start by talking about the food industry. Our government subsidizes the food industry through the USDA, Department of Agriculture, and some of the easiest crops to grow in mass quantities are wheat and soy. And because we can grow so much of this stuff, we have to find ways to creatively make more things, more products out of those things. And so we create Franken Foods. So these Franken Foods are just like the name implies. They're products that we create by, first initially, even before we break them down, we genetically alter the plants themselves so that they can withstand pesticides and chemicals that we put on them to make them grow better. And then when we harvest them, we break them down into all these individual components and then put them back together, add a bunch of additives to them, and then creatively package them with appetizing pictures and bright colors and things that make us attracted to the product itself, that make us attracted to the products so that we buy them and we consume them. Best of all, we usually add some sugar, which is just about as addictive as cocaine, and you never know how much it could be in there as sugar. It could be in there as high fructose corn syrup, or any other of a million different names they call sugar, cane sugar, dehydrated cane products, whatever. So there's all these different names for sugar that we use to kind of cover up the fact that we're putting sugar in your products. But the sugar and other chemicals are put in the products not just because they enhance the flavor, but they also because they're addictive. There's actually organizations that spend time finding the sweet spot in foods that make them the most addictive. But it's not just the fact that we have all these foods that are highly addictive. It's also the fact that we have all this information. We're bombarded every day through information technology with lots of advertisements that promote these products. And information is a great thing when it's positive, but one of the facts of information is whatever you're taking in, eventually you believe it. One of the really cool things that advertisers learned a long time ago is that with information, if they bombard you with a message, no matter how stupid it is, like fit, healthy people drinking beer and playing volleyball instead of the fat guy sitting there in his easy chair swilling back a beer, if they bombard you with that message enough, pretty soon you're gonna find it to be true and you will succumb to the message. And then your kids will be eating the sugary cereal for breakfast, smiling little kids, getting unhealthier by the day. So my point here really is that we live in a world today where we have incredible access to all different kinds of foods that we can consume, and we also can consume all different kinds of information. I'm speaking from a place of a vast amount of experience. In fact, I'm right now in the process of cancer treatment. You can see I've got this lump in my chest. That's a port where they administered chemotherapy to me for the last couple of months. And so, in fact, I'm just coming off a round of chemotherapy right now, and really don't feel that great. But because my whole life I have been involved in, or at least focused somewhat on my health and fitness, I felt like I could eat anything. And I was also a businessman at a very high level, and so through the stresses of having hundreds of employees and deadlines and payroll to meet, everything, lots of excuses I could make, but basically I've succumbed to the lures of alcohol and also, just eating whatever I wanted. And I think those two things contributed dramatically, probably in total, to the fact that I have cancer now. In fact, today I get an MRI and I'm gonna find out whether the tumor's shrunk enough to where they can remove it. And I'm hopeful, I'm pretty sure that that's the case. The real point I want to make is that, like I said, coming into this thing, it's not all your fault. You are being bombarded. All of us pretty much carry around a cell phone, and we're endlessly scrolling through social media and there's advertisements just hitting away at us, trying to get us to buy whatever product that they're selling. And part of that is our food. And I can't emphasize enough how critical it is, how food is going to impact your health more than probably anything else you do. The workouts, back to the information side of things, there is so much information out there of how to work out, how to do, you've watched me doing squats and deadlifts just now, but how to do those things correctly and how often to do them. And even my channel, if you watch my channel, I'm certainly going to show you those things as well. But there's tons of information out there. It comes down to our own choices at the end of the day, and the choice of what we put into our brains for information. If you want to change your life, if you're tired of being unhealthy, unfit, not feeling as good as you did when you were a teenager, you don't have to. All you have to do is make some simple changes. The first simple change you have to make is the information that you take in. Because everything we do is a result of how we think, how we feel. And how we think and how we feel is largely dictated by the information that we consume throughout the day. The people we surround ourselves with, the videos that we watch, the television that we watch, all of the different sensory input that comes into our bodies every single day. It comes into our minds. Our mind is the most important ingredient in changing the state of our lives, the state of our fitness, the state of our finances, the state of our relationships. Everything starts in between your ears. You can make a conscious choice to start consuming on purpose information that's beneficial to your health. Information about foods, how they affect you, what's good, what's bad. There's millions of different diets out there. They all have their pros and cons, but it's up to you to study those things and to decide for yourself what best suits your lifestyle. So again, if you really want to change your life, start first with changing your mind. And changing your mind starts with what you're putting in your mind. Be on purpose. Don't just randomly scroll. Be deliberate about what you're putting into your brain, because it's your thoughts and your feelings that are going to have the biggest impact in the long term. It's what you believe about yourself is going to be reflected in how you look, how you feel, and how you function every day. But secondly, your diet, your food, the things you put in your mouth. Get away from all the processed foods that you possibly can. Every time you go to a restaurant, just about everything you're eating there is going to be processed, nasty stuff. So spend more time learning how to cook. Understand what ingredients, what kind of foods are good for you and what kinds are not. And between fixing your brain, being deliberate about your inputs into your brain and deliberate about your inputs into your body, the workouts become secondary, maybe even third, because as you start feeling better and start looking better, you're going to want to move more, you're going to want to do more, and you're going to become more physically active because you feel like it. I know this was a simple message, but I hope you got value from it. And if you did, please share it with a friend, like, subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching my videos.